everybody, and welcome back to the Bay Bolts channel. As always, my name is Jake Ricker, and alongside me is my good friend and co-host, Michael Wax. Michael, today we are talking about a Tampa Bay Lightning victory, and not just any victory, a Stanley Cup final victory, as the Tampa Bay Lightning win game number 1 in the finals by a score of 5-1 against the Montreal Canadiens. How you doing today, my friend?
Doing well because I feel like we've said this a lot in these playoffs, but that was pretty much a perfect game from the Lightning. Wasn't a shutout. It turned into a blowout at the end, but it was a close game for the most part. But it was pretty much a perfect game from the Lightning.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt that way. They looked very good. I think even John Cooper said, listen, I think there's definitely more this team has to give, but pretty good game overall. Let's get into that game. We're going to break it down for you period by period. We'll talk about some injuries and some other things at the end of the video and kind of get into what could be happening in game number 2. But starting off in the first period, Michael, a great start by the Lightning in this one. The Canadiens did have some good chances up front. It looked like, all right, back and forth game. This is a close goalie duel like we expected. But then to open up the scoring, it's Erik Cernak who puts one in the back of the net on a beautiful deflection. Andre Palat threw it right in front of the net. Cernak deflects it and puts it top shelf right in the corner. I think it's safe to say it was the best deflection I have ever seen. Because it was really good. But nonetheless, the Lightning are now up 1-0 in the first period, and Bolts fans are feeling pretty good. The Lightning are really good when they get the first goal. I believe they only have 2 losses when scoring first, so things are looking good for the Lightning. As time would go on, that's the way the score would end in the first period, 1-0. So, Michael, good first period overall for the Bolts. They got a lot of good chances. They were out shooting Canadians, and they had one on the scoreboard.
Yeah, well, if you think that deflection was good, wait till we get to the Montreal goal because that deflection was just crazy. But overall, the Lightning played really, really well in that first period. Something that you don't normally see in terms of how they've been playing in the Stanley Cup Finals, at least in the first game. They were 0 for 3 coming into this game and winning game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And as you can tell by the beginning of this video, they won this game. So they snapped that streak. One of the weirdest goals I think we've seen in a long time, because we talk all the time in the regular season about Erik Cernak being more offensively dynamic. He's jumping into the play more. He's going around the net. We saw that a ton in this game. You never saw him going to the net, though. You saw him going around the net. You saw him trying to pass the puck. Here, Tampa beat Montreal at Montreal's game. Montreal's game has always been about the counterattack in these playoffs. They scored a ton of goals off the rush, a ton of goals with on-band situations. Tampa had a 3-on-2 coming into the zone. Erik Cernak had the open lane, and Palat had a beautiful pass to find him. Braden Point with a great outlet pass to Palat to start it off. It was a great back check to start off the play. This is the type of play that you expect from the Lightning. And if they can beat Montreal at Montreal's game, which is counterattack, this series is going to be a short series because the Lightning are just that good in their own zone, getting to the offensive zones. So a really, really nice period by the Lightning. I'm glad they got the 1-0 lead very early. It allowed them to play their style. As we saw in the second period, they didn't let up. And Carey Price, honestly, could have, if it wasn't for him, he could have been like a 6-0 game at the end of 2.
Yeah, the Lightning have faced some hot goaltenders. Varlamov was a really good goaltender for the Islanders in that series, and Carey Price, another top goaltender, and he made some excellent saves. He later made a save on Steven Stamkos that was absolutely outstanding. It's tough to stop a guy like that when he's sitting all by himself, and Carey Price still made the save, which is extremely impressive. Made a great save on Tyler Johnson as well in the second period. But in that second period, Lightning continued their chances. Despite the score being 1-0, and it's still a very close game for obvious reasons, the Lightning had a lot of good chances, a lot of good opportunities. They weren't giving Montreal many good chances. They did have a few turnovers, which I think was maybe the biggest problem for the Lightning in this game. They did have a couple of turnovers. Luckily, none of them came back to bite them, as Vasilevsky or the defense made up for it when those turnovers did happen. But the Lightning kept pushing, and it was Yanni Gourde who would get the Lightning on the board as they would go up 2-0 in this one. Now, this goal was originally credited to Coleman. Actually, it is officially listed as Gourde's goal right now. They changed like 3 different goals in this game because there were that many deflections in front of the net. You could never tell. But officially, it sits as Gourde from Coleman and Goodrow. Nonetheless, though, it's a Lightning goal when the Lightning are up 2-0 in this game, and you're thinking that's great. Insurance goal. The Lightning are playing well. Things are looking great for the Lightning. And from Montreal's side, they needed a goal. They needed a goal soon to try and get some of that momentum back and maybe build. It's just something here as things were not going their way. But luckily for them, Montreal would get a ridiculous deflection as Ben Sherratt, I believe his name is pronounced. He literally was playing pinball as he slaps one from the point. It went off 2 different players. I believe one of them was Ryan McDonough. I think it might have hit one other Lightning player in front, but you have to go. I wish I could put the video of this in this video, but go look at this highlight if you can, because it is absolutely ridiculous how much this puck bounced around, and there was no chance for Andre Vasilevsky or really anybody on the Lightning to try and stop this puck. But Montreal has now pulled within one, and it's right back to a one goal game, and that's how the second period would end. There was an injury that took place in this period for the Lightning. Alex Killorn blocked a shot. We'll get to that a little more at the end of the video when we talk about what could happen with Killorn into the next game. So if you want to skip to that, there'll be some chapters below too, so you can go check that out. But Michael, overall, another great period for the Bolts. Only up 1 goal, which is a little unfortunate, especially after that crazy deflection, but still a good period for the Lightning.
Yeah, for the majority of this period, you really thought that the Lightning dictated play once again. The goal was just the third line doing what they do best, which is crashing the net, making sure something happens. And that was a deflection as well. Carey Price probably wasn't going to stop it. And he made sure that in the next couple of minutes, you knew, yeah, I'm not going to stop deflected shots. If I can see it, I'm going to stop it. He stopped Stamkos. He stopped Tyler Johnson. As far as like the Montreal goal goes, it's to be expected because they have this identity of going down in games and immediately coming back in some way. That's their MO, and they're really good at it. So I'm not surprised that they scored. I'm surprised on how they scored. It's a crazy deflection. Andre Vasilevsky, who I thought was a little bit shaky to start off the game. He couldn't really track the puck all that well. And then he started to settle down after the shorthand or the Shea Weber breakaway stop that he had in the second period. I thought it was great overall. But this one, he can't do anything about. If the Canadiens are going to beat him, I think they understand that they have to get traffic in front of him because, again, if he can't see it, he might still stop it, but he's not going to be confident on where it is. If he can see it, he's going to stop it. He's just like Carey Price. So going into the third period, 2-1 game, you're feeling confident as a Lightning fan, but also you don't want to give up that next goal. And I think the Lightning did a really good job of responding.
They did a fantastic job of responding because this third period was definitely all Tampa Bay. As really early into this one, it's Nikita Kucherov who gets the Lightning back on the board again, regains that 2-goal lead. A great job by Kucherov. This is another one that kept changing back and forth a couple of times. I believe this one was originally credited to, I can't remember who it was, but it was changed a couple
Palat.
of times. Palat, that's right.
It
This
was
is the
Palat
one.
because it went off Sherratt's glove, and they thought Palat had deflected it into the
Correct. So
net.
it
But
was a weird bounce. It went up in the air and it was, just kind of floating down there, and it looked like Palat maybe had hit it and went into the back of the net. Originally credited to Palat and then changed to Kucherov later, who took the original shot. But again, nonetheless, the puck's in the back of the net, and the Lightning have a 3-1 lead. And it was huge to get it that early, I think, in the third period, because I think they took the wind out of the sails of the Canadiens, who are now thinking, all right, we're 1 goal down here going into the third period. Lightning right back up to a 2-goal lead, though. It would continue for the Lightning, though, their success as later in this period, it's Nikita Kucherov once again, as the Lightning win the faceoff, which is huge. They're normally not great at faceoffs, but they were pretty decent in this game. They win a big faceoff there. Kucherov grabs the puck and just sends a beautiful shot into the top shelf, right past Carey Price. This one Price saw, but Kucherov just straight up beat him. This goal was also originally credited to Point. They thought they deflected it. It's sitting as Kucherov's goal right now, which to me, it did look like Kucherov's goal when I first saw it. But again, nonetheless, puck's in the back of the net, and the Lightning are now leading it 4-1. And things are looking worse and worse for Montreal, and they knew they were in trouble. And then things started to get a little chippy. There was a lot of chippiness in this game. We know these teams don't like each other. They are division rivals in a normal NHL season. There was a play where Coleman ripped off the helmet of, I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, one of the Canadiens players. And then Sergachev kind of wrestled him down because he was mad at something else, and he got hit on his head. It was pretty ugly. I'm glad he's okay. He was a lot of blood coming from his head. It did not look good. He did return to the game later. But there was that. There was also a slash by Shea Weber right on the back of Kucherov's leg, and Kucherov went down. No call on the play, but Shea Weber was fined by the NHL $5,000. So, I was kind of surprised that the NHL did it that quick and jumped on that, but Shea Weber was fined for that slash on Kucherov. And you could tell that slash made Kucherov angry because the Lightning would get a couple power play opportunities late in this game. They're already up 4-1, but John Cooper put out 5 different forwards on the power play when they had a 5-on-3. Hedman would later come on. Like, we're not able to score the 5-on-3, but Kucherov made sure that he eventually, after missing a couple, he found Steven Stamkos from a ridiculous angle, if I do say so myself. And Stamkos just puts it top shelf, beats Carey Price, and the Lightning now lead it by a score of 5-1. And that's how this one would end. So the Tampa Bay Lightning take game number 1 by a score of 5-1. And just a great third period, Michael, from the Lightning. Not only did they shut down the Canadiens defensively, they also got to keep their offense going and made sure that the Canadiens had no chance at coming back in this game.
Yeah, they outshot the Canadiens in a third period where the Canadiens were trailing for the majority of the period by multiple goals.
Impressive.
That should tell you all you need to know, regardless of the fact that Tampa Bay had more power plays in the third period, regardless of the fact that John Cooper apparently is a whiny baby for sending out his power play unit at the end of the game, which I don't know about you, you play to win the game. To borrow the quote from Herb Edwards, you play to win the game.
This is
If
Stanley Cup
Montreal
Finals.
was up,
You're not
if
taking any
Montreal
risks.
was up 3-1, 4-1 at the end of their game and they send out the first unit, same thing. You play to win because things happen in this league that can change on a dime. And if you're not prepared, then bad things are going to happen to you. So I'm fine with the Lightning sending out their first unit.
Absolutely.
As far as Nikita Kucherov, fantastic to see him actually trying to shoot the puck, not on the third goal, but on the fourth goal. Because we often forget that Nikita Kucherov has one of the best wrist shots in the entire league because he doesn't use it. And I'm tired of him not using it because it works all the time.
Well,
so
both in this game.
Exactly. I would love to see him shoot more often. It was off the faceoff, which seems to be a problem with the Canadiens. Even if they win a ton of their faceoffs, they seem to get into trouble a couple of seconds after, whether it's scoring chance against or the fact that they, booted out of the offensive zone or something like that. So if the Lightning can take advantage of that, would be fantastic for them. As far as Nikita Kucherov is concerned, Kucherov hit 30 playoff points for the second consecutive year. He is the first player to do that since Mario Lemieux, and there's only one other guy to do that. His name was Wayne Gretzky. Now, Gretzky,
not too bad company right there.
Not too bad at all. Now, those guys did it far more than Kucherov. But to have your name in that legacy of Gretzky, Lemieux, and now Nikita Kucherov, you have to be a special player. Let's say he played all 56 games this year. I don't think this would come as a surprise to anybody. I think it's a surprise because he was out for so long. He was rehabbing for so long. And then he came back and he dominated. And one more little stat from Twitter about Nikita Kucherov, avoiding all the comments about him, but John Buchgross, who is part of the ESPN crew will be getting the rights at the end of this season, which I could not be happier with, said that Nikita Kucherov, with his 30 points at the time, it was 28 points on the uh, little play that he sent, said that he has now passed Peter Forsberg's 27 points in 2002 for the most points by a player who did not play during the regular season, which is insane. Like, Peter Forsberg, really, really good player in his prime, from what I've been told. Nikita Kucherov, apparently better.
Oh, no question that Kucherov is better. I mean, he's on another planet. I mean, heck, he's sitting in company of Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky. That should tell you all you need to know. But yes, Kucherov does that, which is pretty impressive. Which, by the way, last time that happened, where Forsberg did not play in a regular season game, then came back for the playoffs. The Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup. So if you believe in that kind of stuff, it's a good sign for the Tampa Bay Lightning. But nonetheless, a great game from the Bolts overall. They take game one. Let's quickly talk about, Michael, the injury, though, to Alex Killorn. As we mentioned, he blocked a shot in the second period, which, by the way, this is what people often say, like, that's hockey right there, where Hedman had lost his stick. I can't remember if it broke or if he just lost it, but Hedman does not have a stick. Killorn gives Hedman his stick, and then Killorn lays down the body and blocks a shot. You could see he was in pain on some bench. The Lightning bench knew what a big play he made. He was getting some pats on the back there, but he was in discomfort. He did not take another shift. I believe he might have tried to skate out there one time during a TV timeout, but did not go. I think he later did go to the locker room. He was on the bench for a while, but Killorn did not return to this game after blocking that shot, which is not an ideal sign for the Lightning, because that means he tried to go and didn't. It just wasn't going his way. So I don't know the extent of this. After the game, Cooper did not have an update on Killorn. I would imagine we get one today as of this recording, later maybe, or maybe in the morning skate tomorrow before the game. But there is a possibility Alex Killorn may be out for game number 2, which is unfortunate for the Lightning. But the good news is we have a lot of players that can step in. Matthew Joseph, Alex Pierre-Boulet is another one that could come in. Mitchell Stevens. The options are endless. So, Michael, who do you think would come in if Killorn is not able to go for game number 2?
I think it's going to be Joseph. So when you look at the Lightning and the way that they structure themselves, your first line is your skill line. They're good defensively for the most part. Kucherov is definitely lacking as a member of those three, but they're good overall defensively. Second line, their identity has really changed throughout these playoffs. They went from decent defensively to can't buy a goal to they're scoring all the time. At the beginning, they were scoring a ton. So ultimately, you need somebody to fill in the gap of what Killorn does, which is play the body and get to the front of the net. Joseph has learned to play the body this year, more so than any other year. I think his stint in Syracuse last year really helped him with that. He has played in some playoff games. Thank God, because last year he didn't play at all in the bubble. And if he didn't play this year, I think he would have asked for a trade. I'm going to be honest with you. Uh, and he's fast. Like, he's really fast. If you want to, and I'm not saying that you should, but if you want to slide down Palat, put him next to Stamkos and Sorelli, and then put Joseph on Braden Point's wing, I want to see that. Like, maybe just do it next year in an exhibition game instead. But, like, I want to see what happens when you've got two of the fastest players in the league that are willing to sacrifice themselves for this team.
Let us
So
know in the comments.
ultimately, I think they're going to go with Joseph. But like you said, they have options. They have ABB. They have Taylor Radish, who have been skating with the team. They have Jamel Smith, who was going to play in Game 6 if it wasn't for Kucherov not playing, or Kucherov being able to play. And I mean, they have Mitchell Stevens as well to go get some face-off stuff. So everyone brings something unique. I ultimately think it's going to be Joseph.
Well, let us know down in the comments below who you think could step in for Alex Killorn. Hopefully, Alex Killorn is okay and will be good to go for game number 2. But as of right now, we don't know and signs are pointing to him being out. Although that's what we thought for Nikita Kucherov, and this is the Stanley Cup final, so these guys are going to do everything they can to be out there on the ice. But nonetheless, so game number 2 is going to be on Wednesday at 8 p.m. right back at Amalie Arena. I'll be out there at the watch party, ready to go. I know Emily was rocking. It's a lot of fun out there. I'm loving the crowd, loving everything that they're getting excited for. It's a fun time in Tampa Bay right now. But Michael, I think we can also expect the Canadiens to come out even stronger in game number 2. The Lightning have split every single time their first 2 home games where they've gone 1-on-1. So it would be great for the Lightning to take a 2-0 lead to Montreal. I think that's definitely what they're looking to do, obviously. So we'll see if they're able to do it, but it's going to be an interesting game. Montreal, I think, will definitely come out stronger. But as of right now, if the Lightning continue to play the game like they did in game number 1, they look pretty good, and the odds are in their favor to win this series.
So not only have the Lightning in this playoff split the first 2 home games in every series, in every single Stanley Cup that they've been in, they have split the first 2 games at home.
That's a crazy stat. Well, hopefully
Yeah.
that changes for the Lightning.
Hopefully it
Also,
does. Yeah.
the Canadiens, I don't know if they're going to get Armia back. He was out for this game. He had a COVID issue, and then he flew down to Tampa on a private jet because he originally did not travel with the team. But then he ended up not going anyway today. Jake Evans was actually back in for the Canadiens. So not sure on their situation. We'll keep you updated on that. But he could also be another big factor if he comes back for Montreal in game number 2. But we'll have all the coverage for you on Twitter at Bay_Bolts. Make sure you give us a follow over there for all of your game updates, news, all of that good stuff. But that's going to do it for us, guys, in today's video. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like down below. Let us know you're enjoying these videos. Really helps us out here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, your Tampa Bay Lightning are now just 3 wins from being back-to-back Stanley Cup champions.
Go Bolts.